This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Take a moment to appreciate my purple tracksuit as well. I got a lot of comments on my glasses in the last video being tinted, which doesn't bother me. I can still see fine, and I can see fine with these too, but you know, each to their own. Often we find a lot of people's desert island cameras are pretty expensive, and we definitely own some pretty pricey gear. But in spite of that, I am 100% always reaching for this cheap and cheerful combo. So come on a photo walk with me and I'll explain why I love this camera so much. So it's a beautiful sunny day. It's actually freezing. I've been like a bit cocky about how good our winter is, and now it's like so cold. I've got some Kodak Gold in my pocket here. So I will load up my Rebel G, and I've got the 40mm pancake lens, which does make this a very cute and lightweight combo. So with the Rebel G, as you can see, it's happening here. It actually loads the film backwards. So you can see it's gotten up to 37. And this is really handy because if you do happen to not think and open the back, you're not going to lose those frames. You just have to get used to the counter counting backwards. This little pocket of Burleigh is a spot that I have photographed a lot, but I like to try and come at things with a different angle. So this building here, I have definitely photographed before, but I'm going to see if I can get like a new angle or a new perspective on it. Really like challenging myself, even when I'm in spaces where I feel like I have exhausted them. Like I love that challenge. So I know you guys probably have spots you frequent. So yeah, just think about how you can come at it from a different angle. Maybe I might actually see if I can get the tennis court. I think maybe might be a cool, let's see if I can, I should probably take my lens cap off. Oh my God. Okay, all right, and back to the building. Love the blue sky and then like the white building. And I like this building because it's got a lot of curvature on it, which you don't see a lot in buildings anymore, like these rounded balconies. I don't know what like era that is, but yeah, you don't see that. Everything's very sort of like harsh lines now and looks really like new. So I'm always on the lookout for these buildings, and they are kind of like disappearing. So yeah, I love the lines and the shadows as well with buildings. Just like architecture is just such a good thing to photograph. I think one of the main differences between film cameras and digital cameras is with digital cameras, it's the sensor and the processing that can really differ and vary across all different cameras. Whereas with film cameras, it's really the film and the lens that's the most important thing, and less so the body of the camera. It's kind of just coming down to whether you like using it, the ergonomics. In some cases, maybe it would be metering, but generally, yeah, it's the film and the lens that's really going to make a difference in your end result. So assuming everything is functional with a camera, you could put the same lens on a very expensive film camera or a very cheap film camera and get the same result, which brings me to the humble Rebel G, because this is an extremely affordable option. We see a lot of people talking about budget film cameras and affordable film cameras, and they're not always, in my mind, actually budget. But this whole setup you could get for, you know, $200 USD, especially the bodies. They're dime a dozen because people don't really want them because they're plastic. They're pretty ugly, really, and that's coming from a person who clearly cares about aesthetics. And then the lens is a really good lens, and we got this lens for a good price, but still it's not in the realm of like something that's crazy expensive. If you hunt around and you're a bit of a marketplace shark, you could find this combo for like under $100, I think. I believe in you. You can do it. It's a bit hard to like frame. So this is kind of cute. This is cute. I always have like two, either I want to take a photo of it or I want Lux to take a photo of me in the scene. Sometimes we do both. I think it's getting a little bit warmer. It's not as cold now. I'm shooting Kodak Gold because we have very little film in the fridge. You need to do an order, but I don't love Kodak Gold. I feel like people like Kodak Gold. What do you guys think? I'm just never that moved by it. I like Color Plus because it's just kind of like my baseline. It's good for everything. I don't have any Ektar. I sent my last roll of Ektar away to a teenager who has just started shooting film, who got in touch with me. So yes, need to get some more, but it is expensive. So there's a scene down here that's like industrial. They're doing some kind of like renovation, and I really like a juxtaposed kind of scene of like there's traffic cones and a bollard, which is all very like industrial, and then there's like a palm tree. Nearly fell over. Okay, I don't know how it'll come out, but I put it on auto and the flash went off. We'll see. Well, you've already seen. Do you want to go around that way, or do you want to go up the stairs that are up there? You know, like...
Let's go.
Okay. So I'm going to take this because I like the power lines in front of the palm tree. I try and avoid taking like too many palm tree photos because how many times can you take a photo of a palm tree? But I think this adds something, like another element, so. Oh, there's a little birdie. Nice one. A birdie. Oh yeah. Good. Love that. I have a few mop head photos. I need more to like make it a thing, but it could be a thing. Might get a photo of this. And use the flash on that. If you come here in the afternoon, you can, like all of those like little holes there, like the light comes through and creates really nice like shadow patterning on the wall. I've sold a few prints of this scene before, and yeah, taken lots of photos here. It's a nice little spot, and you can see the ocean out there. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. So YouTube videos aren't always like the best way to share the actual finished result photograph, and especially for me because I shoot in vertical orientation. So if you want to see more examples and spend some more time looking at photos from the Rebel G and like work that I've been doing lately, you can pop over to my website, lucylumen.com, and I have a space for my professional work and a space for my personal work. I've been having a lot of fun jumping in and regularly updating my website lately that is hosted by Squarespace, and I am very, very excited to tell you that they are also sponsoring today's video. I've been a customer of Squarespace for over a year now, and I have found it really easy to build my own website, and I am definitely not good with very technical things. Since building my own website on Squarespace, I have noticed a huge increase in inquiries and like really fun, bigger brands taking me seriously. And I think because I have a portfolio there that can show my photography without being cropped I can section everything really nicely and break it up, which is really good for me because I do a lot of different things. So I can pop my products on there, like my preset, my guide, my services, and people can book in for those on the online shop. And then I can also show my photography in a gallery setting that's like really nice and gives someone a really clear overview of my work and my style straight away, so they know if they want to book me or not. With the new asset library, you can store and order and just manage all of your content and then share that and move it around across your schmick Squarespace website. With Squarespace, you can literally have a website and an online shop set up in minutes, and you can start creating a side hustle and earning some extra money from your ideas and your creativity and your expertise. So I found it really empowering as a freelancer and a content creator and a photographer. In the age of social media and how ever-changing it is, I think it's really important to carve out a corner of the internet that is yours, where you can fully express yourself and your personality and your work and just share your creativity with the world. As photographers, we are finding it increasingly hard to find a space online that is conducive for us to share our work uncropped and exactly how we want to. And I just think that a gallery or a portfolio on Squarespace is the perfect place to do that. So you can use my code below and start your own Squarespace site. I am very, very excited to have Squarespace as a sponsor for this photo walk video and for this new chapter of the Lucy Lumen channel.
Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Lucy Lumen to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
It's bin time. One is enough. The Canon Rebel G is a consumer camera, so it's pretty simple and very easy to use. It's got the little dials on it that indicate things, so a face for portrait, mountains for landscape, there's like a person running for sports mode, those kind of things that make it super easy to just use and get the most out of, which I really love. You can pop it on auto and it'll just do everything for you, which is something I do a lot when I'm shooting for work in environments where it's busy or I just need to be really responsive and I need to be fully immersed in the scene and not be looking down or worrying about settings and stuff like that. You can also shoot this camera fully manual. So you can make all of the decisions and have all of that input if you want to. So it's pretty amazing to have like a film camera that you can have that much diversity in usage. There is also a pop-up flash, which is like one of my favorite things ever. This basically gives you that direct flash look, which is one of my favorites. And it's so easy because I just put it on auto, the flash pops up. So if I'm shooting in a restaurant, I know that, you know, I'm gonna get that direct flash look, but I don't need to use a point and shoot because they are unreliable. The minimum focusing distance isn't great. And with this, I can get really close. I know the flash is gonna go off. I just know that it's gonna do a good job and I don't need to worry about settings and all those kind of things. So it doesn't take me away from like the evening and what's going on and capturing all the vibes. It also has a hot shoe, so you could mount like a speed light or something as well. So I'm just trying to get across to you here, like it's so versatile and it's such an underrated camera. A lot of people kind of like turn their nose up at the modes on cameras, and I think they're a really powerful tool if you know how to use them or know how to make them work for you. So when I'm walking around doing this kind of style of photography, I've been popping it onto landscape because I know that it's going to give me like a flat image that I want. I don't really want like bokeh. I'm not looking to create that kind of look. So landscape is going to keep everything flat. And then if I do want to get close up to something, you know, I can put it on portrait mode, or I want to isolate a particular subject and have a little bit of a shallower depth of field. Portrait mode would be great for that. If you were doing street photography, for example, sports mode would be great because it's going to bump up your shutter speed to allow for like movement and action. And then again, you don't have to like go in and change stuff because like it's just on sports mode, and then you can just keep shooting and be responsive to the scene. So I just think it's like such a game-changing way to shoot. And whilst you might not always want to use a plastic camera that's kind of dorky and, you know, you are missing the sort of the ergonomics and the feel of like cocking the shutter or, you know, focusing manually through an SLR. Like I get all of that, you know, like when I use something like our Spotmatic, it's so nice. But in terms of like actual camera that I'm reaching for and using every day and getting like the most out of, especially with how expensive film is, it is 100% the Rebel G. Something I have found with this camera and a lot of like older digital cameras as well, it must be something to do with like the technology behind the way they focus, but the way to get it to focus if you're struggling is to find like a contrast point. So it really needs that stark contrast between like colors or something like that. So when everything's white or there isn't really like a discerning kind of like focal point, I just like move the camera somewhere where there's that definite contrast and then it will focus, because it can just be like jumping around like crazy, and that is annoying. And especially in low light too, I found like I shot this wine bar the other night and I was like freaking out because I was like, oh my God, it's like really hard to focus in the low light in the back of the room. But because I was using flash, I was like, you know, hoping that it would like freeze the action, it would come out. But yeah, that's like my only complaint with the Rebel G. Shadows are annoying. Like apartment block. I think the op shop's open too. Be a good person. When we got this camera originally, it came with just like standard 50mm lens, which is still really good. It's just like a step up from like the kit lens. And then when we were at the Brisbane Camera Fair last year, we got this 40mm 2.8 pancake lens, which you might have heard of before. People say like if you put that on like an SLR like this, then it's kind of like a point and shoot. And it's sort of like that, but it's not really like a point and shoot because it's still pretty bulky. Matt Murray loves to complain about how this is not a point and shoot, which it isn't. I agree with you, Matthew Murray. But this lens is great because it's a macro lens. So I think the minimum focusing distance is like 30 centimeters or something crazy like that, which I absolutely love because I love to get close up to things. And it just eliminates me having to worry about that at all. So I can get really nice and close to like food or jewelry or even just like walk around stuff like this. The other thing that I really like about this lens that I didn't realize until Lux and I were talking about it, but because it's 40mm focal length, that is apparently very close to how we naturally see like with the human eye. And I really like my photography to look raw and real and like in the moment and like put you there so you feel like it's a real moment that you saw. And I didn't realize that 40mm was kind of helping me to create that look because it is close to how we see. And I think it's good in the result that you get, and then it's also good for the photographer when you're composing a photo. I don't have to kind of do what you do if you had like a 28mm or like even like a 90mm, like you have to move around a lot to make it work. I can kind of see something and I'm like, oh, that looks good to my eye, and then I just pull my camera up and it's very similar. Do you know what I mean? I can just grab it straight away. So yeah, I've had all these like realizations about how much I love the 40mm focal length. And I think it's a good all-rounder. It's fine for portraits, it's fine for walk around. Like I literally just use this combo for everything. Every time I book a job, Lux is like, what camera are you gonna use? And I'm like, probably the Rebel G. Because I've been using this so much and it is very like, you know, it looks like an old digital camera. So when I rock up to jobs, like I know that people are kind of looking like, oh, like that's confusing. And it is pretty dorky, but it kind of adds to why I love it. But Lux bought me a Canon EOS 7, which is, you know, a superior camera to this one. The autofocus is a lot more responsive and fast because that is something with this that is very primitive and slow and like just sometimes does make me miss moments, but it's not enough to make me stop using it. So I've tried to use the EOS 7 and like it's great, I love it, but it's a lot bulkier, a lot heavier, and that for me is just like, doesn't work. Like it makes me not want to use it or it makes me leave it in the car. And I also feel like I have this like weird superstition now with the Rebel G because I have taken so many photos with it lately and I've done so many jobs where I felt really pressured and it's like come through and I see the photos and I'm like, oh my God, Rebel G, thank you. So now I have this like, weird superstition where if I don't use it, then the job won't be good, which is silly, but I think we all do that with cameras. Like if you have a camera at home that you've got a lot of bangers with, you probably do feel like it's become your kind of security blanket. Let me know what it is in the comments so I don't feel like such a weirdo. So that's the Canon Rebel G. It's my desert island camera. If I had to choose one film camera, it would be this camera, this lens, this combo. I'm not sure if that's surprising to some of you. I did read a newsletter on my Substack recently. That's a fun read if you want to check it out. It's linked below and I talk a little bit about why I love the Rebel G in a more poetic way. Some of you might be surprised that it's not the L35 or something like that, but when it comes to reliability, consistency, the look that I want, the Rebel G just hands down would be the camera that I would reach for. I would be so happy if I only had this camera to shoot because I love shooting it for personal and then for work, it just does pretty much everything I need it to. Feel free to let me know your desert island camera. I know that that's such a fun question. They ask you at the end of Analog Talk podcast. So yeah, let me know yours below. And a big thank you to everyone who's been watching these photo walk videos. It's really nice to be back outside taking photos, making these YouTube videos again. It's a creative outlet for us and we really, really enjoy it. So thank you so much for all the kind comments. And if you need a website, make sure you click on the links below so you can start your own Squarespace website and we can bring you more photo walk videos in the future. So I have some frames left on my roll and I am doing some work for this tracksuit brand called Obus. They're an Australian brand. And yeah, we're gonna take some like fun pictures just out and about, some lifestyle ones. So we will roll out the video with those photos so you can see what they look like from another angle of sort of like portrait fashion kind of photography. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.